Now to developments in the Middle East, where thousands of Israeli troops are gathered at the Gaza border today, preparing for a possible ground invasion of the Hamas-ruled territory. The violence reached a new level this morning, with Israel carrying out its most intense attacks yet in response to Palestinian militants firing hundreds of rockets into Israel since Wednesday night. Israeli tanks and artillery fired at Gaza on the ground, while airstrikes and rocket attacks continued from above. In a statement yesterday, a Hamas spokesperson said bombing Israel was, quote, easier for us than drinking water. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also addressed the violence, saying Israel would, quote, act with full force against its enemies. At least 119 Palestinians and 7 Israelis have been killed in this latest conflict. The victims include children. Israeli troops have not entered Gaza with force since a 2-month war back in 2014. And joining us now, former NATO Supreme Allied Commander, retired 4-star Navy Admiral James Stavridis. He is Chief International Security and Diplomacy Analyst for NBC News and MSNBC. Also with us, longtime foreign correspondent Martin Fletcher, who is reporting for NBC News in Tel Aviv. Martin, we'll start with you and give us the very latest. It's good to see you upon very terrible news.
Hey, good morning, Mika, and everybody else. Yeah, it's been a terrible night here. There were about 200 missiles fired from Gaza into Israel. At the same time, Israel's been attacking, bombarding Gaza, 150 fighter plane attacks, bombing attacks on targets inside Gaza. They've been attacking. This is the 5th straight day of very, very severe fighting. Israel's targets so far have been mostly Hamas targets, things like Hamas police stations, military facilities, facilities where the Palestinians are making those long-range rockets that they're hitting Israel with. But there was a new development last night that Israel's targeted what they called the underground city of Gaza. There's a whole network, a very sophisticated, complex warren of tunnels underneath the city of Gaza that Hamas has been building in order to, for these kind of moments. They have their operational control centers there. It's where they store weapons. It's where the fighters can move around the city at will, underground, unobstructed by Israel. So at the same time as this is happening, Israel is building up its troops on the border. There's 2 infantry brigades, 1 mechanized brigade at the border fence waiting for the orders to go into Gaza. I don't think at this point anyone really thinks that's going to happen. But with that war of words that you mentioned, the hostility between the Hamas spokesman and the Prime Minister Netanyahu, basically saying we're going to go on with this fighting as long as we need to. Everyone's assuming it's going to go on at least till the middle of next week. And at the same time, of course, we can't forget the fighting inside Israel, which is also fairly new. It's like the worst fighting ever between Israeli Arabs and Israeli Jews inside the towns of Israel. So this is a development that is new, very frightening for Israelis. And even when the fighting in Gaza ends, as it will, because after all, this is about the 5th or 6th round of fighting between Hamas and Israel. It always ends after a few days. This is new. Jews, Arabs fighting in Israeli cities. That's going to be tough to get that genie back in the bottle.
Yeah, and Admiral Stavridis, what else is new, according to our good friend David Ignatius, is just how fragile the political situation is on both sides. Let me read from David's column that's in the Washington Post this morning. What feels different this time is the fragility of Israeli and Palestinian politics. The Israeli military is powerful as ever. But the country's political fabric has frayed during recent years of electoral impasse and interim government. The Palestinian political mess is even worse. The Palestinian Authority is corrupt and feeble. Power flows even more to Hamas militants, whose military strategy is to terrorize Israeli civilians. And this is, if you dare talk about both sides in any way, of course, you get absolutely villainized by political factions on both sides. But David is right, though. The reality here is, Admiral, that Benjamin Netanyahu is fighting for his political life. He has absolutely no political incentive to bring this to a peaceful conclusion. And you can say the same about Hamas, who took control and then were revealed to be horrible at even running basic government services and were corrupt. And so they have no incentive to back down either. Instead, they have incentive to say that we can throw missiles at Israeli civilians, like what are they, like drinking water or something like that. So you have a political situation on both sides where neither side has any incentive to actually protect the civilians.
Indeed, Joe. And just to put it in perspective for an American audience, these numbers sound small to us, like 120 people, 150 people killed. Remember, the total population here between Israelis and Palestinians is just over 10 million. So this is already a 9/11 level event in this country and in this territory. So 200 million people in America would be headed to bomb shelters based on comparisons of population. So this is a very significant uptick in violence. And you're absolutely correct. The incentives are running in the wrong direction right now. So for Netanyahu, he wants to maintain his grip on power, and he can look strong, sending the military forward. For the Hamas, they are seeking to show that the Fatah in the West Bank are, as you say, corrupt and incompetent. What's going to happen? I think Martin is right. It's unlikely we're going to see an actual incursion of significant ground forces into Gaza. This is one of the densest places on the earth. The U.S. Marines, toughest of fighting forces, will tell you there's nothing worse than what they call the three-block war, fighting in very intense, dense situations. There's an underground network of tunnels, as Martin informed us. All of that mitigates against an actual invasion. So bottom line, what should the U.S. be doing at this point? I think the administration's got it about right, which is, number one, to appreciate the importance of this in terms of local impact. Number two, is to push hard for mediation, perhaps getting the Egyptians, the Jordanians, our close Arab allies, into that game, and also trying to play it relatively even-handedly, but recognizing there are 2,000 missiles that came out of Gaza against Israeli targets. They're not going to simply sit back and let that occur. Dark days ahead, unfortunately.
Martin, you've been covering this conflict for many years. You've seen it all. What strikes you beyond the fighting internally inside of Israel among Arabs and Jews? What strikes you as different in terms of the conditions around this? And where do you see this heading?
Well, it's unclear where it's heading. I mean, the difference this time, I think, is that the Israeli Arabs have been radicalized, in a sense, by the Israeli political rhetoric. Don't forget, Israel's now heading, maybe, God forbid, to its fifth elections, 4 elections in 2 years. And Prime Minister Netanyahu has basically remained in power by whipping up the right wing to vote for him. And the Arabs are part of the whipping boys. The Arabs have been radicalized. They haven't got jobs, many of them. They're young. They just, don't forget, they're emerging from a year and a half of COVID isolation. There's a lot of excitement. All of the mobs that are attacking Israeli Jews are young people. And all of those Jewish mobs that are attacking Palestinian, Israeli Arabs, they're also young people. So this is, this is a moment of truth, if you like, for the fabric of Israeli society. The emphasis has always been in this very difficult, divided country to bring together Jews and Arabs and to live together in peace. And it's falling apart right now. The mayor of Lod, which is one of the Arab Jewish cities near Tel Aviv, said we're approaching civil war. That is what most terrifies the Israelis. I'd like to say one thing. This is a success for Hamas. I mean, Hamas has succeeded in this fighting to divide Israeli Jews and Arabs. That's a major success. And to pick up what you were talking about, another major success here on the other side is for Prime Minister Netanyahu, who was in great danger of being thrown out by an anti-Netanyahu coalition that was beginning to form that depended on Arab party support for the government. They wouldn't be part of the government, but they would vote for it in parliament to support it. Now that's fallen apart. And the right-wing element of that anti-Netanyahu coalition has said, we're not going that direction. We want a partnership with Netanyahu and with Likud. So this is a major success for Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it can be underlined enough. The winners here are Hamas. The winners here are Benjamin Netanyahu, who was, again, it just is a reality, who was after all of these draws, electoral draws, appeared to be being pushed out of power by a coalition that no longer exists because of what's happened over the past week or so. Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.